Picture this: wind screaming across what used to be my front porch, the same porch where my granddad sipped black coffee at dawn back in '52. And now I'm standing there clutching a stack of foreclosure notices, 12 of them, crisp white papers flapping like surrender flags, each one stamped with the address of a McMansion that belongs to the very people who tried to bury my family's name in the Montana dirt. 6 months ago, I owned 2,000 acres of prime Blue Ridge Ranch, rolling hills that smelled of sage and cattle and freedom. And today I own their mortgage company, every last brick of their marble countertop empire, because sometimes the only way to stop a thief is to become the bank. My name's Ethan Caldwell, third generation to work this land in Silver Creek County, Montana. And if you're wondering how a simple cattleman turned the tables on the richest HOA president this side of the Rockies, buckle up, because this isn't just a story about property lines. It's about legacy, about poison in the water, about an 8-year-old girl asking why daddy can't afford ice cream anymore, and about the moment I decided their greed would cost them everything they loved. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from, because what happened next proves that when the system is rigged, you don't break the game, you buy the board. It started with Vanessa Hargrove, blonde bob sharp enough to cut glass, designer yoga pants that cost more than my monthly vet bill, rolling up in a pristine white Range Rover like she owned the horizon. She'd cashed out of Scottsdale after her husband Derek took his tech startup public, and they decided Montana was their personal Lego set. Vanessa was self-crowned president of Pine Haven Estates, a gated subdivision of beige monstrosities built on what used to be the Olson family homestead, right next door to my fence line. Our first encounter, she marched across my pasture in heels that sank like guilty secrets, manicured finger jabbing at my hay bales, declaring them an aesthetic violation that tanked her property values. I offered to plant lodgepole pines for privacy, polite as Sunday manners, and she sneered. Trees take too long. Ethan, relocate your cows, or we'll relocate you. 3 months in Montana, and she was schooling me on ranching, classic. Then the letters came, official Pine Haven Estate stationery, noise complaints about my roosters announcing sunrise, odor violations because cattle dare to smell like cattle, cease and desist demands from a Billings law firm that charged more per hour than I cleared in a week. I'd be in the barn, leather gloves slick with afterbirth from a late-season calf, reading legal threats while Vanessa's perfume lingered like a threat. This wasn't about roosters, this was conquest, and the first surveyors showed up on a Tuesday frost, orange vests glowing like warning lights, pounding stakes into soil my grandfather paid for with GI Bill blood and sweat. They waved a 1978 plat that redraw a 50-acre ribbon along our border into HOA common area, and when I demanded proof, Vanessa materialized holding a photocopy, smiling like a cat with cream, cooing, paperwork gets lost, Ethan, happens all the time. Except my original deed, the one framed above my fireplace since Eisenhower was president, had vanished from the Silver Creek County Courthouse. Poof, like it never existed. That night I sat at the kitchen table, coffee cooling beside a yellow legal pad. Daughter Lily asleep down the hall clutching the stuffed horse I won her at the county fair, and I felt the first cold drip of dread, because predators don't blink, they calculate. Vanessa filed adverse possession faster than a rattlesnake strike, claiming 2 years of community trails nobody asked for, benches bolted to my dirt while I was in town buying feed. Montana law says 5 years continuous use. But her lawyers argued substantial improvements, shaved the clock, and a judge, Judge Whitaker, rubber-stamped a restraining order barring me from touching disputed ground that my cattle had grazed since Truman. I discovered Derek's surveying firm authored the fake plat, cited in Arizona for boundary fraud, but by then the local paper ran a full-color spread, Vanessa beaming beside a ribbon cutting for Pine Haven Greenway, caption praising her stewardship of my land. The sabotage escalated, anonymous notes under wipers, sell or suffer. Hardware stores suddenly cash only, vet doubling call-out fees, and every dawn I'd find fence wires sliced like veins, cattle wandering county roads, Sheriff Ramsey writing $500 tickets while Pine Haven ATVs left diesel ghosts in the moonlight. Trail cams caught board members in North Face jackets playing Cowboy Commando, and when I reported felony vandalism, Ramsey shrugged. Kids, probably. My bank, president lives in Pine Haven cul-de-sac, called my operating loan, Insurance canceled after anonymous safety complaints, and Lily asked why the lights flickered when I counted pennies for diesel. Death by 1,000 cuts, except the blade had Vanessa's fingerprints. Then the well tested positive for toluene. Cattle dropped like dominoes, $10,000 emergency vet bills, and Lily's goldfish floated belly up in tap water. EPA traced runoff from Pine Haven construction, but Vanessa offered to help by buying the ranch at 40 cents on the dollar. Generous, she said, given my legal troubles. I was David with a broken slingshot, until Mabel at the courthouse slipped me a manila folder at midnight. Original Pine Haven Incorporation papers, never filed. Vanessa listed as sole managing member, $380,000 in dues parked in her personal Cayman account. Fake HOA, federal wire fraud, 20-year ticket, and the game, finally, had two players. Pressure became persecution. Vanessa assessed every Pine Haven household $6,000 for a legal defense fund, $258,000 war chest to bury one rancher. And when I lawyered up with Harper and Associates in Helena, she countersued for defamation, harassment, emotional distress, each filing a paper cut designed to bleed me dry. My ex, Megan, filed for full custody citing unstable environment. Later admitted Vanessa paid her retainer through a shell LLC. Child Protective Services showed up because Lily's teacher reported stress indicators, and I stood in my kitchen at 2 a.m., shotgun across my lap, listening to coyotes scream like accusations. They poisoned 3 more tanks, shot out my windows, left a gutted badger on the porch with "You're next" carved in blood, and Lily slept at Grandma's while I patrolled fence lines like a soldier in my own country. Vanessa invoked a 1964 ordinance requiring $2.5 million liability coverage for AG operations, dormant since disco, suddenly grounds to seize my herd in 72 hours. I watched Lily wave goodbye to her bottle calf through the sheriff's cruiser window, tears cutting clean tracks through dust on her cheeks, and something inside me snapped, not broke, snapped clean like a .30-06 round chambered for justice. But desperation births brilliance. The ordinance targeted Blackfeet ranchers in 64, ruled unconstitutional in 79, never stricken from books, federal preemption, game changer. Harper filed federal civil rights, pattern harassment, 42 U.S.C. 1985, and we unearthed Vanessa's Phoenix playbook, 3 Hispanic farms bullied into fire sales, same script, different zip code. Media smelled blood, NBC Montana ran, rancher versus rogue HOA. And Vanessa countered with fake GoFundMe. Protect our families from stalker neighbor, staged photos of her clutching pearls. She tried to have me declared incompetent the day before the Silver Creek County Fair, emergency psych hold, doctored Facebook posts, forged therapist letters, hearing scheduled same morning as custody battle, masterpiece of cruelty. Foreclosure notice arrived at dawn. Mortgage sold to Hargrove Holdings LLC the week prior. Vanessa planning to bid pennies at auction, but Harper secured federal injunction. EPA tagged my Aquifer Superfund priority, blocking transfer, and my forensic accountant, Troy, traced every dollar from HOA coffers to Derek's offshore accounts. Rico jackpot. Vanessa offered $2 million cash. No NDA. Derek cornered me at the poisoned well. We can make you disappear. Except I wore a wire. Felony witness intimidation. Cherry on the sundae. The county fair became Armageddon. Vanessa packed the livestock pavilion with private security, claimed death threats. Local news ate her narrative like cotton candy. Bomb threat evacuated the grounds. Blamed on my inflammatory rhetoric. But federal agents, tipped by Harper, ghosted through the crowd in Wranglers and ball caps. I walked the gauntlet past former friends who wouldn't meet my eyes, boots echoing like gunshots, heart hammering so loud I swore the mic would catch it. Microphone hot, lights blinding. Vanessa took the stage first, voice trembling like a violin string, producing medical records claiming PTSD from my campaign of terror, crowd murmuring sympathy. Until I stepped up, no notes, just truth burning holes in my pocket. I'm going to show you documents, I said, voice steady for the first time in months. You decide what they mean. Slide 1. Grandfather's 1952 deed, county seal glowing like righteousness. Slide 2. Derek's forged survey, signatures mismatched like a drunk's handwriting. Gasps rippled. Slide 3. bank wires, $380,000 HOA dues funneled to Vanessa's personal account. HOA members turning pale as milk. Vanessa lunged, fabricated, mascara streaking like war paint, perfect. Then the hammer, EPA plume maps, contamination 60 times legal limit, video of Derek directing illegal dump trucks at 3 a.m., before and after photos of foaming wells, dead cattle bloated under Montana sky. Crowd fury ignited, parents clutching kids who drank the same poison. Phoenix victims testified via Zoom, same tears, same bulldozed dreams. Final slide, bribery ledger, $30,000 to Commissioner Lowe, Judge Whitaker's stock portfolio swollen with Hardgrove Holdings shares, Sheriff Ramsey's texts, pressure the cowboy. Audience roared, officials bolting for exits, federal agents cuffing Vanessa mid-scream. This is a witch hunt. As RICO, wire fraud, environmental felony, civil rights conspiracy charges read like a grocery list of ruin. Derek tried to slip out the side, tackled by a deputy who'd lost a cousin to the poisoned water. Judge Whitaker resigned on live TV, Lowe lawyered up with public defender, Ramsey cuffed in his own courthouse. Standing ovation shook rafters. HOA members wept apologies. Elderly widow Mrs. Jensen hugged me sobbing. She threatened to burn my house. NBC chopper circled overhead, story national by sunset. Plea deals came fast. Vanessa and Derek took 18 years each. $28 million asset forfeiture, McMansions auctioned, proceeds funding aquifer cleanup, victim restitution, my new Blue Ridge Foundation for Rural Legal Aid. Lily planted saplings where bulldozers scarred the earth, naming them Hope and Justice, her laughter louder than any gavel. Ranch branded integrity beef, waitlist 3 states long, college fund overflowing. Megan dropped custody suit when Vanessa's payments surfaced, Lily back full-time, teaching city kids to rope on weekends. Pine Haven rewrote bylaws, transparent elections, community orchard blooming where Vanessa's pool was jackhammered out. I married Clara, Lily's 3rd-grade teacher who smuggled me sandwiches during depositions. Wedding under the new oaks, Lily scattering lupin instead of rice. Case sparked federal HOA task force. RICO precedent now textbook. Documentary in pre-production. Profits to the foundation. Standing on the rebuilt porch, solar panels glinting, meadowlarks stitching the sunrise, Lily asks, "Daddy, are the bad guys really gone?" I kneel, dust on my knees, truth in my throat. Gone, baby girl, and we built guardrails so they can't come back. Wind carries sage and promise, and for the first time in years, the land feels like home instead of a battlefield. So here's the question burning hotter than branding iron. When the system protects predators, is foreclosure revenge or restitution? Was I judge or justified? And where do you draw the line between self-defense and settling scores? Drop your take below, because sunlight still disinfects, and stories like this only work if we tell them loud. Subscribe, ring that bell, because the next fight might be in your backyard, and the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to run out of coffee and courage.